Hi friends, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It? And today we are going to be looking at some of the popular nonstick pans that I'm sure you've been seeing ads for, and we're going to test them out, see what the pros and cons are to each, and if they're worth it. All right, let's get going. Alright, so the first pan we are going to be looking at is the Hexclad Hybrid Cookware Commercial Pan. I got the 10-inch fry pan with a lid, and I got this pan before Black Friday, but it was on sale, and the pan plus the lid was a total of $200. Which is very expensive for a pan, but if it's as high quality as they claim, then it's worth the investment, right? I did notice during Black Friday, they also had a sale and it came out to the same price. So I think you can always find these somewhat on sale. For all of the pans, I did the same tests for most of the foods I cooked in them. The first was the fried egg test without any oil. I cooked steaks. I also cooked sausages with some peppers, and then I tried a couple rice dishes, and then I finished with some salmon to see how well it browned the fish. Now the Hexclad, according to its ads, says it's not just a nonstick, it's one of a kind, and it's both stainless and nonstick. So there's a stainless steel layer, an aluminum, and then another stainless steel layer with nonstick on top of the stainless, but the stainless steel can come up through it. And you can see the stainless steel come up on the hex patterns in the pan. This is also oven safe, dishwasher safe, and you can use metal utensils on it, which is very difficult to just do because if you cook with any sort of pans, you just automatically try to not use metal because you don't want it to scratch. But that's really awesome. So when testing this pan, first off, it's pretty heavy, which isn't necessarily a negative, but that is something to keep in mind if you're like moving things around a lot on the stove. So this was the pan I was most excited about trying, and spoiler, it is my least favorite out of all the pans I tried, and I'll get into why. So first things first, when you open the package, as all of these pans have, there is a care and use instruction card. After it says to wash the cookware, it says, as with most fine cookware, Hexclad hybrid cookware should be seasoned before first use. And then it tells you to heat the pan on medium-low with a teaspoon of vegetable oil, leave it to heat, and then you're ready to cook. If I'm buying a nonstick pan, I shouldn't have to season it. Otherwise, I will just get a cast iron pan and season it so it becomes non-stick. Oh, and it was funny because after I tested this pan out and was not very satisfied with it, I started actually looking at other videos reviewing this pan, which I didn't look up before because I didn't want them to bias my opinion. So somebody else who reviewed this pan, they also said, first off, that was a huge red flag. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And it just feels like they're gaslighting the people who buy their products, saying, this is such a high quality pan, and just like others, you need to season it, duh. Well, no. So when I first did the egg test, and you can see it did all right. Anything I tested, whether it was the egg, the salmon, the sausages, whatever, it's not like stuff really stuck to it and I couldn't like get it off, but it was that it stuck a little bit. And what mainly stood out with the Hexclad was after I cooked down some peppers and then some sausage after that, which it blackened the sausage a little bit, I like that, the little grid pattern disappeared, and I was really confused because it cleaned off like the bigger chunks that were on it really easily. And so because they disappeared, I was worried at first that somehow they'd come off in my food, and I didn't really understand the build of the pan. But once I realized it was the stainless steel little nubs that were blackened and not non-stick, I took a scrubber to it and had to scrub really hard to get those blackened parts off. So that was one of the main drawbacks, is that it's not non-stick. It's mostly non-stick. And I know we all want to believe that things endorsed by celebrities like Gordon Ramsay are trustworthy, but really it's not. but doing due diligence before buying a pan, like you're watching this video, is great because you'll realize that I really don't think that this pan is worth it. A side note, once I started looking up reviews of this, a lot of the people who were like, oh, I'm gonna try it out, they would say, now disclaimer, I was sent this for free, but my opinion is my own. And as much as that is probably somewhat true, being given a $200 pan in exchange for a YouTube short or just a quick video does influence your opinion. And that's true for me, that's true for everybody, because who doesn't love getting high quality gifts from companies? And sure enough, all those people who reviewed it, who got it for free, had very positive reviews. I'm not sponsored by any of these people, probably won't ever be, but I just don't recommend the Hexclad pan. All right, so next up we have the Always pan from Our Place, and it says it's a patented 10-in-1 cookware system. This pan I found at Target. I think it was on sale when I grabbed it, and it was $99, but I think that's a common price point that you can find. And this pan is a 4-piece set, so you get the lid with the pan, a wooden spoon that fits onto the handle, and a steamer basket. This is oven safe, and it says it's a Thermokind non-stick, toxin-free, without all those PFOAs, etc., etc. Now, when I grabbed this from Target, I don't know what I was thinking, because my main complaint with this is that I just don't like the color, but I picked it, so that's not anybody's fault except my own. This pan was actually really decent in all of the tests that I did. The egg stuck just slightly, but not enough to like ruin the egg. Now, I didn't steam anything in this, and I didn't bake anything in any of the pans. I primarily just focused on using it as a fry pan because that's what I use pans mostly for. So that's what I wanted to test. It cleaned up really well, which all of these pretty much cleaned up really easily with the exception of the Hexclad, where I actually had to take a scrubber to it. I like the size of this pan, and it's not super heavy, which was nice. And something I really liked about this pan and the next two is that it had really high sides, and so splatter was a lot more minimal when I was cooking things like steaks. It did a decent job at cooking the salmon and browning it nicely, and overall I really like this pan, just in a different color. So I do think this is a really neat design to really consolidate a lot of the pans that you have in your cupboard, because it does steam. It does say you can fit a rotisserie chicken in here. Obviously, it depends on how big the chicken is, but that's really awesome. Like I said, it's fine in the oven. When I first started it, all it says to preserve the non-stick covering is to preheat the pan for 90 seconds and then use a high smoke point oil if you use it, and then skip metal utensils and hand wash only. What I noticed with all of these is like, oh, because these are non-stick, you don't need to use a lot of oil. And then it recommends, oh, only use 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. Most things won't stick in 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil, regardless of what pan you cook them in. So I did find that a little silly, but overall, I did really like the Our Place Always pan. Okay, so next up we have the Caraway pan. And you guys, this pan is gorgeous. I've been getting ads for these for so long, and they are just absolutely beautiful pans. The ads say, oh, decorate your counter space with our pans, which I always find kind of funny, because if I had enough counter space to decorate with pans, I still wouldn't. But regardless, this line of pans is beautiful and comes in many different colors, and I picked this, blue one because I thought it was pretty. And this is a 4.5 quart, 11.8 inch pan. I got it for $130.50. So this is the second most expensive pan, but I really like it. It is a little heavy, but for its size, it just feels sturdy. So this one was actually the only pan that the egg did not stick at all. And when I cooked the eggs, I didn't use any oil because I wanted to see what it would do. The eggs slid around, flipped easily, and just cooked as well as I could want them. The cleanup everything was so easy with this pan, and I loved it. So this pan is considered a ceramic pan. Is it true ceramic? I don't think so, but I think they just have redefined what ceramic means. And so now this and a lot of other brands call it ceramic. So in the little booklet that comes with it, it says ceramic comes naturally non-stick. So no need to season your pan. Wow. What a concept, right? Hexclad. No, so anyways, it just says preheat for 90 seconds before adding oil, and yeah, then you're ready to use. This one was my favorite. It cooked everything beautifully. I really liked how it browned the steaks and the salmon and cooked up the sausages just fine. The only negative, but it's not really a negative, is all the do's and don'ts in their little instruction booklet. But they're just covering themselves because it's like, hey, don't use pointy edged utensils. Don't use metal in this pan. And just be careful. It can burn you because it can get hot. Which, let me just say, so when I cooked a rice dish in this pan, the lid and the handle were great. They're maybe just slightly warm to the touch, but I could easily pull the lid off, check it, place it back down, which compared to the next pan I will talk about did not do that. And one other thing, they also have a little ridge on the handle so that you know where to not move your hand any further because it could burn you, which I thought that was just a nice little touch to add for the safety of the users. Overall, like I said, this one was my absolute favorite, and I'm not sponsored. I just really liked the pan. All right, so last up, we have this non-stick 5.5 quart ceramic jumbo cooker. It has a non-toxic ceramic non-stick coated interior, dual riveted cast stainless steel handles, and a 5.2 liter capacity. I found this at Sam's Club, and it was only $39.98. Now, once I saw this and saw how beautiful it was, it just looks like the Caraway brand, but so much cheaper, which a lot of times you can find at places like Costco and Sam's Club. This is the Member Marks brand, and it does come in a variety of colors, and you can buy sets of different sizes of these pans or just individual pans of whatever size you need. So like I said, this one was only $40 and it's gorgeous. I picked the black and the gold because I thought that was very pretty, but all the colors just look so nice and well polished, very similar to the Caraway brand. Now, the instructions for first use does recommend heating a little bit of oil in it and I guess seasoning it, which doesn't make sense at all to me. Because it's already non-stick surface. But I followed the instructions. The first cook in this was eggs, and it did slightly stick, but nothing terrible. I do, once again, like the tall sides of the pan. And this one, just because of the size, has a very nice flat surface for cooking big steaks and things like that. The one downside to this is I was cooking a rice dish in this one as well, and I noticed that the handle on the lid was too hot for me to touch, so I had to use an oven mitt. So you can see here that this handle is a lot shorter when compared to the Caraway, so that's one main difference. And like I said, I don't know if that or just the type of metal it is leads to it getting hot a lot faster than the Caraway. Okay, so if you are looking for a beautiful, budget-friendly, non-stick pan, then I definitely recommend the Member's Mark pans. Their whole line is just fantastic. But overall, I really like most of these except for the Hexclad, just not worth the price, not worth the quality that you get. But my absolute favorite was the Caraway, which was the second highest in price point, but really not much more expensive than the Our Place pan. If you're short on space, I like the Our Place Always pan. If you're looking for a budget-friendly, beautiful pan or a set of pans, the Member's Mark pans are a great option. And then if you just want a really good, high-quality, non-stick ceramic pan, I absolutely recommend the Caraway brand. And I'm actually probably going to look into getting a few more so that I can use them in my kitchen. Okay, so since it's almost Christmas, Hank is going to be reviewing one last toy and a treat this time. When I first got this Bark Box little Nutcracker toy, I thought it was adorable, and I found it at Target for $9.99. When I was filming the B-roll, as you can see now, I flipped it over and noticed it had a weird design on its bottom area. And then I read what it actually is called, and it's called the Butt Cracker. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you got a chuckle out of that. And I was just like, oh, okay. So in addition to that, Hank is also going to try these fresh baked dog treats from Foppers Gourmet Pet Treat Bakery. They are really pretty, and these were from Target as well. They have all these fun treats. Some are frosted and some are not. And oh, wow, Hank, look at you. Okay, so you practiced last week being a reindeer. I saw that you had Santa on you. And now this week, you've given up being a reindeer and have decided you are going to just be Santa Claus. I don't think that's quite how it works, but you look adorable regardless. So how about you give these a try and we'll see what you think. All right, friends, thank you for joining me for this episode of Is It Worth It?, where we looked at all of these nonstick pans. Let me know if you like this video in the comments below and what you want to see next time. All right, bye. Hello, friends. Hi. So, oh, woo, woo, woo. It's a pan.